Ranking everything in Universal's Wizarding World of Harry Potter from can skip to must do. Audio video. We will be covering everything that you can do in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, both in Hogsmeade, which is an Islands of Adventure Park, and Diagon Alley, which is in Universal Studios Park. And we're going to be ranking everything, the rides, the dining locations, the entertainment. From Muggles can probably skip this to everyone, even not Harry Potter fans must do this. I'm a diehard Harry Potter fan. I don't know why you'd have not Harry Potter fans in your life, but there's some stuff so great that everyone should do it, even if you don't care about the boy who lived. But seriously, what are you doing? Starting off the list, we've got number 15, which is shopping in Hogsmeade Village. This is again on the Islands of Adventure side. Now, before we get too close, let me tell you, I love shopping in theme parks. I especially love shopping for Harry Potter merchandise in theme parks. I could stare at all the different goodies, from the robes to the wands to the pins and beyond, for a very long time. But there's somewhere better to go shopping in the Wizarding World, which is why Hogsmeade is so low on the list. Now, there is one shop in Hogsmeade that's so iconic it gets its own bullet point, so stay tuned for that. I'm just talking about the shops that sell the generic items such as robes, accessories, clothing, pins, etc. One of the main stores here is the Owl Post. Well, there's multiple ways to get into this store, but the main way is through the Owl Post side. When you first come into the Owl Post, I do like all the detail of all the owls being up here, and if you watch them, they do move. I like that one got an award. Good for you, Owl. And people will, of course, love looking at the Monster Book of Monsters from Prisoner of Azkaban. But here at Dervish and Bangees, I don't know what to call it. Jim Dale calls it Dervish and Bangees, but I always read it as Dervish and Bangs. You're mostly going to find a lot of your generic merchandise you can find elsewhere. You can get your robes in here, some of your bags, your accessories, and if you go into this back room here, you can see the selection of wands and pins. Harry Potter fans should definitely come into all the shops and honestly, if you're a diehard fan, you could spend a whole day just looking up at all the details and completely immersing yourself into the world. But if you only have a part of a day, or you only want to do a little bit of shopping, Hogsmeade's not where you should do it. The other main shop in Hogsmeade is Filch's Emporium of Confiscated Goods, which is at the exit of Forbidden Journey down in the basement there. You don't have to ride that attraction to go shopping. Obviously, you can come in here and enjoy looking at all kinds of goodies. Again, they're going to have a lot of the generic merchandise, shirts, ornaments, other apparel items, cups, mugs. They do have some of the collectibles as well. And it's cool to walk around in here because there's a lot of cool Easter eggs and details. But as I said, the shops in Diagon Alley are just a lot more fun. If you're gonna spend time actually shopping and buying something, it's more fun to do it over there. But I will show you one of my favorite details in here, and that's the Marauders map. If you watch it for a while, you actually can see people moving on there. Flying into the 14th spot is Ride Flight of the Hippogriff. This is the first attraction on our list, and it's certainly the least popular and least must-do of the attractions in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. It's a starter coaster, similar, I would put it somewhere between like the Barnstormer and Slinky Dog Dash. It has a 36-inch height requirement, so that is certainly lower than most of the other attractions in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. It's also a very short attraction, so unless you've got little ones that aren't tall enough to ride the other attractions nearby, or you're a diehard Harry Potter fan, you can probably skip this one. But the reason I tell my diehard Harry Potter fans to give this one a ride if there's a short line, two reasons. One, you get an excellent view of Hogwarts from the top, and two, there's an awesome Buckbeak audio animatronic that you can only see if you ride this attraction. But for most people, if you don't care about Harry Potter, if you've got people looking for bigger thrills, this is probably a skip. We are over at King's Cross in London at the Diagon Alley side of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter for our first specific one for this side. We are about to go say hello to a couple of chaps that you may recall from the films. There's a ton of details out here. I actually did a whole video on just the secrets of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. We'll link that for you because there's a ton that are out here you should check out, like going to find Creature over there. But one of my favorite things to do is chit chat with the night bus driver and the Shrunken Head if they're here. Hello.
Have a great day.
Lock the door, mate.
Oh, yes.
Hello, yeah. Are you doing all right?
How are you?
I'm doing all right, thanks.
We are so good. We are so very afraid.
Why are you afraid?
No reason, mate.
No reason at all. Just
nothing to
things
be
going,
afraid of.
You know.
Is it the Slytherin outfit?
Oh, you're Slytherin?
Oh, imagine that. I didn't even see that.
We didn't realise because you were smiling. I don't know how I've seen Slytherin smile.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
What? I'm thinking of going inside the alley. Is there anything I should do?
Down Diagon Alley.
Yeah.
There's probably a spot you'll really like.
Yeah, where's that?
Nocturne Alley.
Nocturne
Yeah.
Alley.
Go down there. We don't go down Nocturne Alley though.
No.
It's pretty scary for us, ain't it, mate?
But well, my family hangs out down there.
That's true.
I've seen them. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
You know what?
Bye.
I'm gonna have to change my mind on the Slytherin.
I think so. It's the
Thank
nicest
you.
Slytherin than that.
Oh, thank you.
Consider me lulled into a false sense of security.
That's
mate.
what we're all about.
Mission accomplished.
Bye.
Bye.
Remember when I said there was one shop in Hogsmeade that was so special it got its own bullet? Well, it's time to go visit Honeydukes, the sweet shop. The reason this one gets its own bullet, because yes, it is a merchandise location, but it's also a treat location, and one they talk about a lot in the books and movies. So I know when I first came to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, one of the things I was most excited about was getting some kind of treat from Honeydukes, just like Ron, Hermione, Harry, and the gang. Honeydukes has a bunch of delicious stuff that you will remember from the stories in both packaging as well as a bakery case. What I love about all the packaging is that it's easy to take something home if you're bringing something home to a Harry Potter fan or you want a little take home. I adore a lot of the things in here. So one of the most popular items is, of course, Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans, and they do mean every flavor. You can get those, which can be a really fun game with your friends and family, or just don't tell them that they're Bertie Bott's and see what happens when they get earwax. Probably my favorite thing inside Honeydukes are the chocolate frogs. These are just like in the movie, except for they're just solid chocolate. They don't jump. But what's fun about them is they actually do have a collectible card inside. So you actually get like a little bit of a take home as well as a delicious treat. And because they are solid milk chocolate, I just put them in my fridge or my freezer and just bite off a little hunk whenever I want to have a little chocolate fun. You've got peppermint toads and fudge flies, Tongue Toffee, Choco Choc, Jelly Slugs, Exploding Bonbons, and Fizzing Whizbies, and so much more. If you are a candy fan, a sweets fan, I definitely recommend grabbing some unique sweet treats inside the Honeyduke shop. But that's not all. We're also going to check out the bakery case. Inside the bakery case, you've got all different kinds of fudge, caramel apples, cupcakes. Some things you may remember from the stories, pumpkin pasties, cauldron cakes. I love the pumpkin cake as well, but we're going to get a treat that I feel like doesn't get enough love, but has one of my favorite moments in the books as a backstory. Whenever I get treats, I like to come back here. First of all, you can see and hear them cleaning the dishes at the Three Broomsticks. Second of all, there's this cool wall of Honeydukes treats that takes very good pictures. Here as well. Here as well. And third, no one else ever seems to come back here except for team members when they're going backstage. So it's a very good place to come and have a secret little snack. Okay, first things first, let's see who I got in my chocolate frog. There it is, literally just a solid chunk of chocolate, and it comes in plastic, so it's really easy to take home. But as Ron says, it's the cards you want. So hold on, Lee. Oh, we got Bertie Bott, as in the maker of the beans. Say. Bertie Bott. He invented Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans quite by mistake. His original purpose is to create tasty sweets from food. After an accident during his experiment, he recognized the sales potential of flavors that range from delicious to disgusting, including marshmallow, tutti frutti, grass, soap, and earwax. Oh, how fun. And for my treat, I'm having the ginger newt. I've tried lots of different things from the Honeydukes case in different videos. The pumpkin pasty was in my Best Snacks in Universal video. The cauldron cake, there's a lot of great stuff in there. The pumpkin cake, I love that, but the ginger newt has a great backstory because for my book fans, you'll remember this moment with Queen Minerva McGonagall in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. When Harry gets kicked out of Umbridge's class because he's, quote, lying, but he's really telling the truth about the return of Voldemort, and he yells at her, he goes to McGonagall, and McGonagall's like, is it true you yelled at Umbridge? And Harry's like, yes. She's like, you told her that you know who is back for real. And he's like, yes. She's like, have a biscuit, Potter. This is the biscuit he takes. This is the cookie he takes out of the jar, or out of the tin from Minerva McGonagall, because she's a queen, and even though he should probably be in trouble, she just gives him cookies instead. And it is so delicious. It tastes like a ginger snap cookie. It's a little bit chewier than that, but it has this nice little light glaze, but it has a strong ginger flavor, so it's not super duper sweet. That is very delicious. Maybe my new favorite thing out of the bakery case. This next one on our list is kind of a two-parter, and it's a mix and match and create your own adventure tale, because not everyone is going to choose to do every single component of this. But part number one, grab a specialty beverage. Part number two, enjoy some live entertainment. So when I say grab a specialty beverage, I'm not talking about butterbeer, because we're going to get to that. That deserves its own bullet point. But a lot of people don't realize there's tons of other specialty beverages within the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. There are 3 different signature beers you can't get anywhere else in the world that you can get in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. There are also a ton of different fruit drinks that you can get that aren't alcoholic. They've got pumpkin juice, pumpkin fizz, tongue-tying lemon squash, a peach drink, a raspberry drink. They've got the fishy green ale, which is actually a minty drink with boba balls. They have tons of different specialty drinks, and while you're probably not going to be able to try them all, I highly recommend trying at least one of them in addition to your butterbeer. And part 2 of this adventure is catching a live show either here in Diagon Alley or over outside of Hogwarts in Hogsmeade. There are 4 different shows you can see between the two. Here in Diagon Alley, you can see the Tales of Beedle the Bard, where they present to you one of the classic fairy tales from the story. My personal favorite of those is the Tale of the Three Brothers, which you may remember from the Deathly Hallows. You can also see Celestina Warbeck here, who you might remember as one of Molly Weasley's favorite singers. She and her banshees come out and sing live, and they are great. Over at Hogsmeade, you can see the Tri-Wizard Spirit Rally, where you have your friends from Durmstrang and Beauxbaton come out and present a little something as if they were in the Goblet of Fire. And you also have the Frog Choir over there, which is another one of my favorites, because you have members of the Hogwarts Choir come out and actually sing with their frogs. If I were to rank the shows based on how much I like them, it would probably be the Tales of Beedle the Bard, then the Frog Choir, then Celestina, and then the Tri-Wizard Spirit Rally. But truly, I like watching them all because I'm a diehard fan, so I want to get down with all of them. There are several places to grab your beverage when you would like to do this. If you're on this side, I recommend the Hopping Pot or the Fountain of Fair Fortune. And if you're over at Hogsmeade, I recommend going into the Hog's Head. No matter which side you're on, I don't recommend going into the quick service restaurants, because those can get really long lines, and if you're not eating a full meal there, it's going to take a long time and you just want to drink. Next on our list is another treat, and this is a special one located in just one place. It's Florean Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor here in Diagon Alley, where you can get a variety of hand-packed and soft-serve ice creams in a variety of unique flavors. Taking a look at the menu, of course their signatures are Butterbeer ice cream, which is very delicious, or the chocolate strawberry peanut butter sundae, which comes in a souvenir cup. That one's fun because that's what Harry got from Florean Fortescue, specifically at the beginning of Prisoner of Azkaban when he gets to live in Diagon Alley for a few weeks, so I love getting that ice cream. They also have a variety of soft serves and some unusual flavors such as orange marmalade or toffee apple. Toffee apple is Quincy's favorite. And then they have a variety of hard pack ice creams with unique flavors such as salted caramel blondie, chocolate chili, Earl Grey and lavender, sticky toffee pudding, strawberry and peanut butter. And one thing I do like to note, when you get the hard pack ice cream in a cup or a cone, you can get 2 different flavors. So if 2 different things are sticking out to you, might as well try 2 different ones. Here's my ice cream. I couldn't resist the strawberry peanut butter. It's just always my favorite. Now, Florean Fortescue can get a very, very, very long line. It's not a hot day today, so it doesn't have one today, but it can get an incredibly long line. So that just means you should probably have ice cream for breakfast so that you can get there before the line. It's just the creamiest, most delicious ice cream. This and the ice cream in France and Epcot are tied for the best ice cream of all time, if you ask me, which is why this is on the list, even though it's literally just ice cream. It's magic ice cream. Next up on our list, we have the projection show on Hogwarts Castle at night. It's called the Nighttime Lights at Hogwarts Castle. It's a really cool little show that happens about every 20 minutes from the sun going down until the park closes. What I love about this show is that it's 1, not very long, 2, it happens so many times a night, you can usually get a really great spot to see it without too much effort, and 3, if you stay till the end, the later you stay, the better view you're gonna get. It's not a whole production like a lot of nighttime spectaculars are, but it's a really nice cherry on top of a day, especially if you're a Harry Potter fan. What I also love about this show is it does vary from season to season. So typically there's just the nighttime lights at Hogwarts Castle, but during the Halloween season it becomes the dark arts because it's all Death Eater and Voldemort and evil dark themed, and then at Christmas it becomes the magic of Christmas and it's all Christmas themed. So I wouldn't say this is a must watch if you're not a diehard Harry Potter fan. If you catch it at the end of the night, it's great, but it's not something you need to plan your day around. However, you are are a Harry Potter fan, if you're spending a long time in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, it's a really nice way to end your day with a cup of hot butterbeer or another beverage of your choosing and just enjoy the show. At number 8, we've got taking a ride on the Hogwarts Express. This is another attraction, but it's unique because it's also a mode of transportation between the two different parks, meaning you do have to have a park-to-park ticket to even do the attraction. The Hogwarts Express is, of course, the legendary steam engine that gets Harry and the gang from King's Cross in London to Hogsmeade Station, where they can then go to Hogwarts. What's super cool about this attraction is it's different depending on which route you go. There are 2 stations, one at Hogsmeade and one at King's Cross, and depending on which one you're on, the story's different, the characters you see are different, which makes it a must-do to ride twice if you're a diehard Harry Potter fan. This is also the only Harry Potter themed attraction that does not have a height requirement. I personally love this attraction because I love following along with Harry's story, and the King's Cross station is really cool because you actually go between platforms 9 and 10 onto platform 9 and 3/4. This attraction does tend to get a bad rep though because the lines can be very, very long, and it's often much faster to just walk in between Universal's 2 theme parks. But if you're a diehard Harry Potter fan, I think it's a must-do at least one way, if not both, just because it's such a crucial and integral part of the story. For my non-Harry Potter fans, you can probably skip this one unless there is not a very long line. If you want to avoid a long line, I would recommend riding it very early in the morning or very late in the evening, as the middle of the day is when most people are trying to hop between both parks. But it's a really cool attraction. It's a really iconic moment in the story. And so for me, I always enjoy riding the Hogwarts Express. Number 7 on our list, visit either the 3 Broomsticks or the Leaky Cauldron for a wizard feast. These are they're kind of hybrid table service, quick service restaurants. 3 Broomsticks is here in Hogsmeade. The Leaky Cauldron is over in Diagon Alley. Both of them serve some crossover food, but they do each have their own unique menus. The 3 Broomsticks is more of a traditional English feast where you're going to have ribs and roast chicken and corn on the cob. And the Leaky Cauldron is a little bit more of traditional English fare where you're going to have shepherd's pie and Scotch eggs and Yorkshire pudding. But at either place that I go, I get the same thing, which is fish and chips. And I personally just like the aesthetic and feel like the 3 Broomsticks is more iconic than the Leaky Cauldron. But truly, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you should go into at least one of them, if not both, and get yourself a meal. Let's go have some fish and chips at the 3 Broomsticks. One thing I will say is both of these restaurants are incredibly popular, as you can imagine. So I recommend eating on off-peak meal times as much as possible. It's about 2 o'clock right now, so a little bit after peak lunchtime, so the line's not very long. It can be very, very long. I've waited upwards of an hour to get food before during a busy day, during peak meal time. So try and eat maybe right when they open. They both do a great breakfast. Or in kind of the mid-afternoon between lunch and dinner. Got my lunch from the 3 Broomsticks. So this is the kids fish and chips, which is one of my pro tips for eating in theme parks. Is I often order kids meals because you get the same food but a smaller portion. It's less expensive, and that saves me more room for treats. So you get 1 piece of fish, some of the chips, and grapes with the kids meal. If you order the adults of this, you'd get 3 pieces of fish and no grapes. But I love their fish and chips actually more than the UK and Epcot because you get the fresh lemon, you get the house-made tartar sauce, plus on the table all you can eat malt vinegar, which you know I'm into. Then for my drink, I picked another one of my favorite specialty beverages here, like I mentioned earlier. This one is the pumpkin fizz. So a lot of people remember pumpkin juice from the books, but pumpkin juice is a little bit too sweet for me, and I'm a diehard pumpkin fan. So pumpkin fizz is very similar in flavor, but it's bubbly. It's kind of like a pumpkin LaCroix almost. So I'm into that, and it makes me feel whimsical and magical when I drink it. All right, let's prepare this fish and chips. Gotta do our lemon. Then we gotta get our malt vinegar. I love the house-made tartar sauce here. It is phenomenal. It's way better than what comes out of a packet at Epcot, so. That's so good. Definitely my favorite savory thing to eat in the Wizarding World. It's got this perfect flaky crust, nice mild white fish. The chips are also really good here. They have like a nice seasoning on them. And I love the pumpkin fizz because it does have that autumnal cinnamony, but it's got also the bubble that helps make it lighter and more drinkable, I guess, than pumpkin juice in my opinion. But I just love being in here because it really feels like we're in another universe. Take a look around at all the detail. Look how high up it goes. Look at the forest perspective. Look at the little details everywhere. I love it. Now, if you were like me, there's one thing in particular you wanted when you read the Harry Potter books. Say it with me now. 1, 2, 3, to go on a date with Draco Malfoy. But if that's not the one thing you wanted when you read the Harry Potter books, it was to have your own magic wand. wand magic is for sure one of the coolest and most immersive things around this land, and it is literally so much fun. So we're gonna go do some wand magic, and I'll tell you all about it. Also, I may have answered the Sorting Hat quiz based on what I thought the Slytherin answers would be, so that I could be in Draco's house. Pretty Slytherin thing to do, and I should probably question my life choices. The magic wands are so much fun, and you can acquire them at several shops, but if you really want to go hardcore, you need to get yours at Ollivander's, of course, the makers of fine wands. There's an Ollivander's both in Diagon Alley as well as a branch over in Hogsmeade, and both of them offer a wand show. Sometimes this line can get very long, but if it's not too long, I recommend jumping in. Nowadays, it's back to the original way where they put several parties into the wand show and they only pick one person. So there's a strong chance you won't get picked, especially if you're an adult, but it is fun to see if there's not a long line. Basically, they run through the scene in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone where Harry tries a couple wands, things don't work out, and then eventually they find the right wand, and if you'd like to, you can purchase that one. However, you don't have to do that in order to acquire your perfect wand. They have several wands available for purchase again in Ollivander's and other stores throughout the Wizarding World, as well as the main stores at both theme parks. You can choose from picking a famous character's wand. They have a lot of those different ones. This is Narcissa Malfoy's, or they have ones that are unique, and you can find one based on they have a special chart that can figure out which wand should be yours, and the wand can choose you. But no matter how you get your wand magic is the reason you do. Interactive wands are $59.99, and they interact with several places around both Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade, where if you find these little plaques on the ground as indicated by the map that comes with your wand, you can actually do the spells indicated and make magic happen. So let's go do some magic. Silencio, I did it. Guardian Leviosa. Karen Telegram. There are even spells down Nocturne Alley, which is where the shady wizards like to hang out. Alohomora. Okay, I think that's enough wand magic today, but I've actually done a video where I did every single spell. I show you this, the wand ceremony, even the secret spells. So we'll link that one. But wand magic, some of the most fun you'll ever have in the Wizarding World. For my diehard fans, of course, but I find muggles have fun too. As I hinted earlier, there's a better place to do your Wizarding World shopping. That's, of course, in Diagon Alley. Not only will you find more shops in Diagon Alley, but you'll find really recognizable ones for those who are big fans. You have Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, which is possibly the most fun shop of all. You've got quality Quidditch supplies, Madame Malkin's robes for all occasions. And there's even a special place to go shopping that not everybody notices, but beware, more seedy wizards hang out there. But before we can do shopping, we have to do one of my favorite underrated things that you can do in Diagon Alley, and that's, of course, get some wizard money from the bank. Also, kind of a bonus, but we'll throw it into the shopping section. But no matter what, make sure you watch the dragon breathe fire. As a pro tip, he breathes fire every 10 minutes on the 10. So on the o'clock, on the 10, on the 20, etc., etc. That's when you can aim to see him. Now, if it's too windy, a weather sensor won't let him blow fire, but otherwise, watch him on the 10s. Have those cameras ready. Before we go shopping, we need to get our money. Now, this isn't required. Obviously, you can use cash or a card or whatever you'd like in the stores, but I think it's extra fun to head to the Gringotts Money Exchange and get some wizard money to do your souvenir shopping. Plus, a lot of people don't know this exists, so it's kind of a fun hidden thing to do. Head on in here, and there's actually a goblin that will talk to you. You can use cash or credit card to get wizard money, and it comes in 10s and 20s.
You may take photographs.
Thank you.
If you must.
I must. Do you have a name?
No, madam.
Okay, bye.
Farewell.
Here is my money. I got $10. It's a dollar for dollar exchange. Again, you can use cash or a card, and they'll swap it out for you. And you can use it anywhere on food, on merchandise, anywhere in Universal, not just Wizarding World. So this is a really fun thing to do. I tell you, when I swapped money and then got my wand, and I paid for it in Gringotts notes, I never felt more alive. But it's a really fun little detail, little way to immerse yourself even more, and it's a great way to do it with kids, because if you've got a set souvenir limit, you could go swap money out just for that much, and then that's their spending money. It's me. I'm kids. This shop here that's on the corner that looks like a ship is called Wiseacre's Wizarding Equipment. This is kind of your generic store for this section. So it's going to have a lot of mugs, different house apparel, like t-shirts and sweatshirts, not the robes as much. It also has a great section in the back that I love that is full of different stationery supplies. Ooh, look how cool that looks up there. The lights keep changing colors. But this is probably my favorite section over here, because if you look, there's all these different notebooks and cards with the different houses. You can actually send someone a howler. They've got different diaries and journals. But my favorite section are these cards right here. These are a great souvenir that I highly recommend. So these are all little cards, and they're $6. And they were done by a duo called, that's artistic name together is Mina Lima. And they were the visual designers for the movies. So anything that you saw that was graphic, basically newspapers, the Marauders map, book covers, candy covers, anything like that, they designed it. And this is their artwork. It's a $6 card. I actually bought some of their authentic artwork in the New York store. We can link that video for you. But I just think this is a really unique gift. I bought a bunch of these at the New York store as well and framed them, and they look awesome. So this is one of my favorite little souvenirs, and you can't find them in all the stores. One of my favorite stores is called Magical Menagerie, which is where you can find all kinds of creatures. Just like in the story, this is where you could find all kinds of pets. There's plushes as well as a few apparel items, but the main thing they sell are plushes of different creatures you might see, such as phoenixes, the Grim, Buckbeak, Unicorn, Owl, Aragog, Pygmy Pup. There's also some deep cuts in here that are only in the Fantastic Beasts series for the films, but they're in the books, such as the Bowtruckle and the Niffler. I was a kid who always wanted to take home a stuffed animal when I was visiting theme parks, so this would have been a dream for me as a little child. I also love the little detail. If you watch the rats in the cage up there, they are doing tricks and acrobatics. And if you remember in Prisoner of Azkaban, when Ron brings in Scabbers, the shopkeeper's like, wouldn't you like a better rat? And he shows them to the fancy rats up there. So there they are. And one spot not to be missed is to head down Nocturne Alley, which is where the we'll say the Slytherins and such like to hang out. You'll find my favorite store in all of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter down this way. Here is my favorite store, Borgin and Burke's. And it's not just because I'm a Slytherin, it's because this store is awesome and so incredibly detailed. Of course, this is the store in Nocturne Alley where there's some seedy items for sale, such as the Hand of Glory and the Cursed Necklace that eventually makes its way to Katie Bell. And there is a lot of cool merchandise in here if you are, closer to the dark arts. There is Borgin and Burke's licensed merchandise. There's Slytherin licensed merchandise sometime in here. There's Azkaban merchandise. There's Death Eater merchandise. Here's another one of my favorite detail Easter eggs. It is the Vanishing Cabinet that you might remember from book 6. This store is just super cool to come into. Even if you don't plan on buying anything, you have to walk in here. And a lot of people don't even realize Nocturne Alley or this store exists. And they walk by it. But it's got a ton of different Easter eggs, collectibles, cool gear. I really do like this Death Eater fanny pack. But I'm a Slytherin, but I'm not a Death Eater. You know what I mean? I get down with Salazar Slytherin's house, but I don't get down with Voldemort, But they've also got collectibles and jewelry. It's just a really cool store. I could spend a long time in here looking at all the Easter eggs and the different things for sale. They also, just so you know, sell some wands in here if the line for Ollivanders is really long. Of course, it's wizards' wands that you would associate with being in here. You can buy Voldemort's, you can buy Bellatrix Lestrange's, the Malfoys, etc. I also love this Easter egg. There's a boggart in there, and it always makes me want to ask what your boggart would take the form of. My boggart would obviously be Ursula holding a donut and trying to get me to go on a water ride. Headed into Madame Malkin's Robes for All Occasions. This is where you can get your robes, of course, as well as a few other great pieces of Harry Potter wear, including the cardigans, the house cardigans. I think about buying the Slytherin one every time I come here, and then I remember I live in Orlando and I'll never get to wear it, but it's great, isn't it? They also have the Molly Weasley knitted sweaters. They've got F, G, R, and H. I have the Harry one from here. It's real wool, so you can't dry it or it'll shrink. the size of a house elf, I was told. I'm only a little bit annoyed because when I bought them, they were out of F and G, and I would have rather had Fred or George, but maybe I just need to get another one. I don't know. I love those. This is also, again, where you can get your robes, which are a crucial piece of wizarding ensembles. They have a few other items as well, backpacks, other shirts. One of my favorite things is if you're looking at any of these displays and you're like, Dumbledore wears this hat, I wish I could buy that hat. You know what? You can. These hats are for sale, baby. Come right over here, and if you wanted Dumbledore's hat, you could have it for $45, which feels like a steal to look as cool as Albus Dumbledore. You could also get Malfoy's winter hat, one of McGonagall's hats. They also have accessories in here for different things. I have the scrunchie. But even if you don't plan on buying anything, I recommend coming in here because they've got a few screen-used costumes, including this one that was worn by McGonagall and this one that was worn by Gilderoy Lockhart. And then it's also fun to come talk to the mirror and see what she has to say.
You are one of the few people who can pull off that look successfully.
I feel like that was a backhanded compliment, but thank you. Also, I know these boots are too young for me, but the 25-year-olds I work with told me I could pull off the chunky Chelsea boot. I don't know if that's true. This is quality Quidditch supplies, so as the name would suggest, they sell a lot of Quidditch-themed items, including games. They sell balls if you'd like to play Quidditch somehow. You can even buy these replicas of the brooms. They also sell a lot of great house gear in here, a little bit more sporty themes than you'll see over at like Madame Malkin's, like these rugby-style shirts. But this is another great spot to come get some delightful house gear, including they have these new plushes that are like the animal wearing the scarf. So there's Slytherin, obviously. There's Hufflepuff. Here's Gryffindor. And I don't know who you are, but you're not an eagle. So I'm very confused why you would be Ravenclaw. I don't get it, Universal. Like on these, you get it. It's an eagle. I know everyone thinks Ravenclaw is a raven, but it's an eagle. But yet, that's a raven. Confused. Now, Quality Quidditch Supply is connected to Sugar Plums, which is a candy shop. The only reason I'm not highlighting this one quite as much is because, as we talked about, Honeydukes is the superior candy shop. However, if you're only going to this park, Sugar Plums is great as well. They sell a lot of the same things. Exploding bonbons, Birdie Bots, chocolate frogs. But they have a smaller selection in here, and it's just not as iconic as going to Honeydukes. No questions asked, the most fun store is Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. Of course, this is the joke shop owned by Fred and George Weasley. Make sure you look up because they've got their year-round daytime fireworks going. They have a section up there for Muggle tricks because of their dad. They like to stock those. And you can buy a lot of fun little things in here, including Pygmy Puffs. I bought one, and they make a big deal about it, and you can name it. They make a whole ceremony of it if you'd like. Mine's named Lupin Von Fluffyfants. And one of the coolest things that you can get in here are the different pieces of the skiving snack boxes, or you can buy a whole skiving snack box. So you've got your puking pastilles, your fever fudge, your nosebleed nougat, etc. And then they have a variety of different puzzles and merchandise. So this is definitely the most fun store to just walk through and feel like you're in the wizarding world, in my opinion. Also, just wanted to highlight, this is one of my favorite souvenirs I've ever gotten in the wizarding world. It's Exploding Snap. It's a card game, and it's they play it a lot in the books. I assume when the wizards play it, things actually explode. I haven't had that be the case in my house yet, but I love card games, and so this was a really fun take-home. Barely missing the metal platform on our list is taking a visit to Hogwarts. Inside Hogwarts Castle at Islands of Adventure is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, a very exciting attraction that I always describe as not the best Harry Potter ride, but the most Harry Potter ride. This attraction features a lot of things from the stories that may excite more Harry Potter fans than not. You're going to see Dementors go into the Forbidden Forest. You're going to go into the Chamber of Secrets and see the Basilisk. There's Quidditch. There's dragons. Through the queue, especially, you're going to go through iconic places set inside Hogwarts, such as Dumbledore's office and the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom. I would say this is an absolute diehard for Harry Potter fans, at least to walk through the queue, if not to see if your stomach can handle the attraction. And I would say for my not Harry Potter fans, the attraction itself is very fun and unique, so if you've got a strong stomach, I think you you should give it a try anyway. I know people that don't know anything about Harry Potter and still think this attraction is very fun and thrilling. But of course, seeing all those notable scenes, characters, and creatures from the films is what makes it the most fun for my Harry Potter fans. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey has a 48-inch height requirement, and it does have a unique seat. So I recommend sitting in it here at the test seat before waiting in line. That way, if you're not going to be comfortable, you don't waste time waiting in line before you get on board. But we are going to go take a quick tour of Hogwarts Castle, and I'll point out some of the great Easter eggs in this queue. One thing to note about this attraction is that if you'd like to just walk through the queue, which I highly recommend to all of my Harry Potter fans, you don't have to put your stuff in a locker. However, if you are riding, you're going to need to put your items in a complimentary locker. They don't allow any kind of loose articles on the attraction, including bags. So we're going to walk the queue and show you some of my favorite details. Mirror of Erised, one-eyed witch with the hump statue. You gotta be at just the right angle for this one, but Snape's office. Potions classroom. Mandrakes. House cup counters. Gryffindor's winning. Surprise, surprise. Griffin that leads you to Dumbledore's office. Talking portraits of the house founders. Salazar Slytherin. Helga Hufflepuff. Rowena Ravenclaw. And Godric Gryffindor. The Sword of Gryffindor. The Pensieve. Dumbledore himself. Dark art defense for beginners. The Fat Lady. Moving copies of the Daily Prophet. A radio like the one used for Potter Watch in Book 7. Sorting Hat. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey certainly is fun. It's a lot of fun if you're a Harry Potter fan because you get to see so many different things from the stories. But maybe save it towards the end of the day when, if your stomach gets upset, you're about to go home anyway. Number 3 on our must-dos in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, head to Gringotts Bank and see if you can face the dragon. Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts is the only attraction actually inside Diagon Alley, and it puts you at a pivotal point in the story. You are headed into Gringotts, the Wizarding Bank, at the same exact time as Harry, Ron, and Hermione are trying to break into Bellatrix Lestrange's vault to steal the Horcrux. But ruh-roh, you know who has found out as well as Bellatrix, so they come after you while you're on your adventure. It's a 3D roller coaster that is part simulator, part larger than life sets. It also has one of the coolest queues I've ever seen, so even if you are going to think you're going to get motion sick or don't want to ride, I recommend going through the queue so you can head into the atrium of the Wizarding Bank because it's absolutely incredible, complete with animatronic goblins doing work. This attraction does have a 42-inch height requirement. Recommend you sitting in the test seat just to make sure. It's very popular, so if you have Express Pass, I'd use that, or I would try the single rider or go early or late because it can get a very long line. But this attraction is so much fun. It's absolutely incredible. It's, again, part simulator, part 3D, part roller coaster. It doesn't make me near as nauseous as Forbidden Journey, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy this attraction every time I go on it. It's just a blast. There is one distinct treat that we haven't talked about on this list yet. I'm sure you've been wondering where it is. But that's, of course, Butterbeer. There are several different places you can grab Butterbeer across both different Wizarding World lands, but there is no snack as infamous as Butterbeer, and it's an absolute must-get when you come to the Wizarding World. And yes, I'm calling it infamous because it is so good, it's dangerous. There are 3 different kinds of butterbeer you can drink. There's hot butterbeer, there's regular iced butterbeer, and there's frozen butterbeer. You can get it several places across both different lands of Wizarding World. In Hogsmeade, you can get it at the 3 Broomsticks and the Hogshead, as well as some carts. Here in Diagon Alley, you can get it at the Leaky Cauldron. Here at the Fountain of Fair Fortune, the Hopping Pot, and it is a absolute must-get treat in the Wizarding World. Like I said, there are 3 different forms of liquid butterbeer. There's just like regular iced, frozen, or this is the hot. The hot used to only be available in the winter, but now it's available year round. And lucky me, it's actually cool today, like in the 60s, and so I can actually enjoy this hot butterbeer. It is my favorite of the 3, and normally I'm just like suffering in 90-degree weather, but wanting to drink hot butterbeer anyway. So I'm glad it's actually cool enough to enjoy. It makes me feel very wizardy to have hot butterbeer. In addition to butterbeer that you can drink, there's butterbeer you can eat. There is butterbeer fudge at the candy shops. There's butterbeer ice cream. There is butterbeer potted cream. There is butterbeer like in 7 different varieties. I should do a video on just ranking the kinds of butterbeer. If you'd watch that, let me know. Anyway, this is the hot butterbeer. It's my favorite. My rule against not liking sickly sweet things goes right out the window because this is like drinking a melted cupcake, but it's warm and it warms your soul. Most people prefer the frozen, so if I were to tell you to try one kind, it would be the frozen, but I personally prefer the hot. And like I said, if there's one thing you have to indulge in when you're here, it's butterbeer. It's just a must. Which leaves us as the number one most important, best thing that you can do in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, whether you're a Harry Potter fan or not, ride Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure TM. This is the most incredible ride at Universal Orlando. It's a story coaster where you are headed on a Care of Magical Creatures lesson with Hagrid, but of course he and Arthur Weasley got into some hijinks and things go awry. The attraction takes you through the Forbidden Forest, it takes you to Hagrid's hut. You're gonna see creatures such as Blast-Ended Scroots, Fluffy the Three-Headed Dog, unicorns, pixies, centaurs, Devil's Snare, and so much more. It does have a 48-inch height requirement, and it does have a very unusual seat because it's a motorbike. You're either going to be on the bike or in the sidecar, so I highly recommend sitting in the test seat before you get in line, just to ensure that you're going to be comfortable in that attraction seat. It does have a 48-inch height requirement as well. Now, there is a single rider line here at Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure TM. However, I don't recommend using it because it often takes as long as the regular line, and you do miss a lot of the cool parts of the queue. This attraction is so much fun. It is a delight every single time I ride it. It is a lot of people's favorite thing in the Wizarding World. It's probably my favorite ride I've ever been on in my entire life at any theme park anywhere. So Hagrid's is absolutely our number one pick for things you have to do in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, whether you're a diehard fan or a muggle. And if you'd like a list of these must-dos, we have one for you. Just head to this website, sign up for our free newsletter, and that list will come straight to your inbox so you have it already while you're planning your next Universal visit. Well, we've seen number one. Let me know your favorite thing to do in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter down in the comments. Thanks for watching, friends. Now go watch my hidden details of this land video. Bye!